I have amazing women like Tasha, who is just so amazing and come on and share their story. So, welcome, Tasha.
Oh, no, it's actually lovely. I know we've sort of exchanged quite a few sort of like messages and voice notes and stuff. It's actually nice to be actually properly talking to you.
I
Or with you, I
know.
should say, not talking to you, talking with you. And thank you so much for inviting me to share my story, and hopefully it will help other people as well. That's what we're hoping, isn't it? That's what
I'm
it's all
sure it
about.
will.
That's what it's all about.
Amazing. Right, let's get into it. So,
Yes.
Tasha, so tell me a bit about yourself and what life looked like before cancer.
Okay, so right, so I'm Natasha. I was diagnosed at 48 years old with lung cancer, which came completely out of the blue, very, very unexpected. I've always been very fit, very healthy. I used to run 10Ks, mountain biked, used to go to the gym, well, I still do now, go to the gym, just really, really active.
Mm.
So a lung cancer diagnosis was such a shock to the system. In fact, I was actually misdiagnosed at first with having TB. And I know this happens to a lot of people, particularly with my type of cancer, because we have this stereotype in our head, don't we, of what lung cancer looks like and what a lung cancer patient looks like. But the face of cancer is actually changing and is
Mm.
affecting more and more younger people, more and more younger women as well. In fact, there's been a massive increase in younger women and women under the age of 40 as well, and particularly under the age of
Mm.
50. Yeah, getting lung cancer. So yeah, so
I mean, I don't. It's hard to sort of like know why. It's like, is it a case that more women are coming forward now, or?
Um, no, there seems to be a link between air pollution. There's, oh gosh, loads of ideas have been bandied around. Some people are sort of saying perfume, some people are saying scented candles, some people, we know that it's not smoking related.
Mm.
But it appears, I mean, there was a research study came out this week talking about links to food, but I can't see that being a thing. I think the majority of people it is air pollution, but there does need to be more research into that, really. But yeah, so it's a sad state of affairs, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was diagnosed, and I was diagnosed at stage 4 as well. So I have got brain tumours as well. I've got mets to the brain and my lymph nodes as well.
So,
But sorry, I was going to say, but saying all that, that was nearly 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years ago at Christmas.
oh
So,
wow,
so actually, you can live with a stage 4 lung cancer diagnosis.
wow.
You can get on targeted therapy, and yeah, and it can give you, a relatively good life.
I
So,
mean, so let's go back then 3 years and
mm,
describe that exact moment when you then found out that you had cancer. Like,
oh.
how did that all come about, and like, how did you cope with that?
So my symptoms started in the summer. We were at a Jubilee party, the Queen's Jubilee,
Mm.
and I started with a husky voice, and me and my friends, we were just laughing about it, saying that I sounded really sort of sexy with this really sexy voice, and just having a bit of a giggle about it. Then it went away, and then around about 3 years ago, almost to the day, I started with raspy sort of breathing as well, like a squeaky breathing, and then the voice came back, and didn't think much of it. Thought maybe I was just a little bit stressed, and busy working mum,
Mm.
and I was a teacher as well. Um, and it just got progressively worse, and I was very, very fatigued, and I developed the cough as well. And anyway, I didn't see any urgency. Finally went to the doctors after my friends at school really pushed me to go, and they sent me to have a chest x-ray. Next thing I know, I was in the chest clinic, but the doctors at the chest clinic thought I had TB, and then so I wasn't allowed back in school. It's like being in lockdown again, and because I wasn't allowed near anybody because I was considered a public health risk.
Mm.
Anyway, they did that for about 6 weeks or so, couldn't find any TB, and that's when they phoned me up at home and said, we've got to think about the fact that this could be something a bit more serious, and we need to start taking biopsies, etc., etc. And then I was pretty much fast tracked at that point.
Mm.
About another 6 weeks, and I found out on the 11th of December, just before my birthday.
Mm.
Just before my birthday, yeah, that I had at that point they thought it was stage 3, and we were hoping that I was going to start chemotherapy. It was a bit of a mess up with regards to my treatment plan. Anyway, there was a delay on my treatment, and by the time my treatment started, I'd started with headaches, and that's when we found out I had the brain mets. But yeah, it is devastating. It's absolutely devastating, and it feels like your world collapses around you. And I just remember when I got the stage 4 diagnosis, I got phoned up at home actually to be told of that diagnosis. I went for a brain scan in the afternoon. They phoned me up, and the lung nurse said to me, she said, "Where are you?" And as soon as she said to me, "Where are you?" I just knew. And I was walking down the stairs, and one of my daughters was in her bedroom, and she was coming out behind me. And then she said to me, she said, "Are you alone, or have you got anybody with you?" And I thought, oh, crikey. In fact, my heart's going now just telling me about this.
Mm.
And then she just said, "Can you sit down?" And and she just said, we found 3 brain tumours as well. And I remember the first thing I said was, "How long have I got to live?" Because I thought she was going to say about 5 weeks. I don't know why, I just had this 5 weeks in my head.
Mm.
And my mum and dad were with me, and I remember just walking round and round and round the front room, and I couldn't feel my hands and I couldn't feel my feet, and I think my body had just gone completely in shock. And oh gosh, yeah, and I remember my dad taking the phone off me because I had it on speaker, and he took the phone off me, and the lung nurse was saying, "It's okay, it's okay. It means you can go on this targeted therapy, you can go on osimertinib, you can, and you've got the potential to live for years on this targeted therapy. It's not a death sentence. It's not like it used to be."
Mm.
And eventually, when I sort of, I guess, I started to breathe again, and I remember
Mm.
just sitting there and feeling, and I guess so. This must be, so many people must experience the same thing. You sort of sit there and you look at your loved ones. I looked at my husband, my mum and dad, my children, and I looked at all the chaos that I'd created. Well, at
Mm.
least it felt like I know I hadn't created it, because I know
Yeah.
that nobody asked for a cancer
No.
diagnosis, and it's nobody's fault. But I still thought, my gosh, I've created all this pain and all this heartache. And I felt like, I use the analogy of, I felt like the eye of the storm. Do you know what I mean? I was
Mm.
sat there just looking at all this chaos that was going around. And yeah, it was awful. It was heartbreaking, more for everybody else than just me. And yeah, and then 2 days later, I started on my targeted therapy, my little tablet that I take. And I remember just thinking, this is the first day of my new life.
Mm.
And I just thought, I'm never going to take anything for granted again. And yeah, I'd like to think that sort of philosophy still sort of, is my ethos,
Mm.
and is sort of almost, that's the way that I lead my life now, is just don't take anything for granted, because you never know what's around the corner.
No, and I think unfortunately for a lot of people, I mean for myself, it does take having cancer to really sort of really make you realize just how, life can change and how we do take things for granted. And, we've all got so much then, like, you've got your family and your kids and you've got things to be grateful for. And but you just, everyone just takes it for granted. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's having cancer sometimes that makes you then have that perspective change. And it's
That's,
a shame that it takes that. But
I think sometimes we get on the treadmill of life, don't we?
yeah,
And
absolutely.
you get up, you have your shower, you go to work. In my case, I went to school. I did everything that I could for my class, and then you
Mm.
come home and you take the kids to their after school activities, and then you make your tea, you finally sit down
Mhm.
for half an hour or something, and then you go to bed because you're shattered, and then you get up the next day, and
Do it
it's
all
that same
again.
thing, same thing, same thing, same thing, and you never really have time to stop and breathe. So yeah, cancer is awful, but sometimes does give you that time to actually reevaluate and
Hmm.
reframe and just think, right, okay, and just bring it back down to, you know, less craziness, I guess.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So
It's a shame it takes a diagnosis to do that,
it
really.
is. It really is. And I'd love like for there to be a pill or something that instead that people could take and then they then realize how precious life is.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So how old were your children then when you were diagnosed?
Okay, so my youngest would have been, how old is she now? Would have been 14, and my eldest would have been 16. I'm thinking, yeah, so we were lower sixth and year 10. So, yeah.
Oh. So were they present to that phone call? So did they know about the
My,
cancer
my
before?
youngest was, yeah, my youngest was, because she could hear it in her bedroom when she sort of came out of her bedroom. And
How did you find, I mean, everyone's so different when it comes to, sort of dealing with cancer and being a mum, but how did you find it with like both your kids and how did you find it sort of like it affecting, that relationship?
so I was very honest with them right from the very start, because when I was first of all misdiagnosed with having TB, it was a case of, I'm really
Mm,
sorry, girls, but you're going to have to sort of stay away from me a little bit, because for fear of giving them the TB.
yeah.
And so then they knew that I was supposed to get an answer within like 6 weeks. And then it was a case of, well, mum's back at hospital all the time and
Mm,
going for biopsies and PET scans. And they were at that age. So Emily was doing, so my youngest, she was doing just started her GCSEs. Gracie was just started to do her A levels. And they were at that age where I couldn't hide it from them, because they were very
mm,
aware. They're bright girls, and I just couldn't hide it. And to be quite honest, they've thanked me since. They have actually thanked me, and they said that they think that they found it easier to process, because it was like drip feeding as opposed
mm,
to like bang.
yeah.
My husband, I know he won't mind me mentioning this because I've mentioned it in the past. His mum died of pancreatic cancer when he was in his very early 20s. And he said, but she hid it from him because she didn't want to hurt him and she didn't want to upset him. And he said that that was a big mistake, because and he had absolutely adored his mum, and his mum could do no wrong, but he just wished that he'd have known, because it came as such a shock, and
Yeah.
he wanted to be able to help and he wanted to be part of it, and he found it really hard to process. So actually, for us as a family, and I know that everybody's family is different, everybody's family dynamics are different, the characters within the families are different. I understand that, but for us as a family, it was better to be honest from the outset, because of the age of the girls and because of,
Yeah.
because of the way that they are. So yeah, that worked for us.
And that's the thing, I think you have to sort of you have to do what works for you.
Mm,
And it's like there's no right or wrong answer. It
mm,
is just what works for you. And having support is at the end of the day is what you need. And if, to have your family in your corner, knowing what was going on and, and backing you, that's what you need.
absolutely, absolutely, 100%. And to be honest, I couldn't have done this without my friends and my
Mm.
family. My friends and my family have been absolutely amazing. I've also, obviously, the cancer community as well. Oh goodness, the relationships that you build and
Mm.
friendships that you form, they are absolutely invaluable, because sometimes you don't always want to offload everything onto your family and your friends, because they're dealing with their own grieving process as well. So
Yeah.
sometimes they don't need to hear us, and because, and sometimes I don't know. I think we've got to. Well, I think that sometimes I need to be a little bit careful with how much I actually tell people, as in, because I don't want to worry them, and I
Yeah.
don't worry them unnecessarily either. So I found that the people that I found within the cancer community, they get it and they
Yeah.
understand, and the support groups as well.
And that's the
They're
thing. And I think it doesn't matter like what type of cancer you have, we all resonate with each other on some level because we've all had the same feelings and thoughts. And sometimes it's hard to sort of speak to friends and family because unless they've been through cancer or they've been through something like that, they don't get it.
Yeah.
And then it's quite hard for them to sort of really understand it. And then you get, I mean, I don't know you, but I'd get frustrated. I'd be like, why don't you understand?
Yeah, I like I said, a lot of the time I just don't want to burden people.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing is that, yeah, yeah, I don't know. I just don't like putting on people. So I'd sometimes rather not talk to people. And also because I just want a bit of normality in my life as well.
yeah,
I don't always want to talk about cancer, you know?
yeah,
And so a lot of the times my friends, even though I know that I mean, at the moment I can't drive, for example. So I know if I need a lift somewhere, I hate asking people and I generally walk everywhere or get the bus. But if I need to get somewhere, I know I can call on my friends.
yeah.
But sometimes when I go out with my friends and things, we don't talk about cancer and things because
Mm.
they're my friends and they knew me beforehand and they know me as Tash. And it's nice to have that normality of people who've
Yeah,
known me and not know me as Natasha with the cancer.
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah, it's nice to have that release and just feel, yeah, like you again.
yeah, yeah, completely.
Absolutely. So, what treatment have you had for cancer and what treatment is upcoming?
Okay, so yeah, so I take a TKI, which is a targeted therapy, every single day, and I've been taking that since right since the beginning, and that's my little tablet every day, and it's so powerful is this TKI, and what it does is it's actually managed to shrink my primary tumour by about 90%. It's huge. The impact
Wow.
is huge. And it's also got the power to cross the blood-brain barrier, which means that the 3 brain mets that I had in my brain, we thought had melted away. We thought that they had been resolved. However, we rediscovered a brain met in February time, and the reason why we discovered it was because. So let me just rewind. When I was first of all diagnosed, I was told that I was incurable and inoperable. And that, yeah, surgery was completely off the table. However, in America, there's a place called MD Anderson in Texas, and there's one doctor over there, one surgeon who has started to operate on stage 4 lung cancer patients, which was always off the table before. There
Mm.
was just no chance of it happening. So anyway, a couple of the support groups that I belong to, people sharing their stories of surgery. And I thought, hang on a minute, if they're having it over there, why can't I have it over here?
Mm.
And then another couple of people who I know, they started to look into it as well. And so I put together some research. Some of my friends helped me collect and gather the research together, got some webinars together, and I presented it to my oncologist just before Christmas. And I sort of said, look, is there a chance that I could maybe have this surgery? I know that it's not standard, but it's
Mm.
happening in America. Please.
Mm.
So he got back to me and he was like, oh, you do understand that you have got stage 4 cancer. And I was like, yes, I know, but I just want to get rid of the mothership, and I want to do it before it starts exploding again, because I know that my TKI is only going to last for a bit of time. So
Right.
and bearing in mind, it's already my lymph node. I just want this out of me and burn and just
Mm.
gone and reduce my tumor burden, because if you reduce your tumor burden, you've got less cancer to remutate, and to grow and spread. And he
Mm.
said, right, okay, he said, I'll get a second opinion. So he wrote off to the Royal Marsden, Royal Brompton, and then my case was sent over to MD Anderson in America as well, and somewhere in Zurich. And they came back and said, yeah, we think we can do this. And I was like, oh my God, this is so exciting. I was like, oh my gosh, right, okay. They said, but we need to scan your brain again first. We've got to give you an MRI this time, not a CT. I'd always been given a CT in the past. MRI shows more detail. So they gave me an MRI and they found that I had a brain met that was growing again. So they said to me, right, okay, we need to deal with that before we'll give you surgery on your lung. So I've had gamma knife to my brain. So I've had
What is that?
oh, it's a type of radiotherapy.
Okay.
So you get a frame attached to your head. You look like something out of Star Wars. Honestly, it gets literally screwed to your skull. It
Oh my
sounds so
God.
barbaric. It really, I know. Honestly, I do a lot of yoga, and I had to do my yogic breathing when they were literally drilling it into my head.
Oh, that
It's
actually
not really,
drilled into your head.
well, I sort of exaggerate. I don't want to scare anybody. It's pinned, but
Yeah.
they anaesthetise you. It's not as bad as it sounds. It
Okay.
sounds so barbaric. It's actually not too bad. so what happens is you get like a little pin here. I've still got little scars. A little pin there, a little pin there, a little pin here, and a little pin here. And they put a frame on, and it doesn't actually hurt that bad. The thought of it's far worse than any actual thing.
Oh my gosh.
The worst actually getting, so they numb you, and that's the worst bit is when they put the numbing on. But and then they put a frame on, and so it's similar to Cyberknife. So you sort of get, so it's instead, you've seen the masks, haven't you? Have you seen the
Yeah.
radio mask? So it's
Yeah.
instead of that. So it's a
Okay.
type of real precision radiotherapy.
Okay.
Um, and I think it's something like 100, I think it's 196 or 197 laser beams are shooting at your tumours. And it's real sort of like platinum cutting edge sort of stuff. And I know it sounds like something sci-fi, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But it's anyway, so and it's got really good results. But my brain met hasn't shrunk as much as they're wanting. So so we're hoping that I am going to have surgery, and we're hoping it's going to be sort of September, October time. But this needs sorting first. So
Mm.
I was, yeah. So I'm waiting on another brain MRI, and as long as the little brain met in here has decided to behave itself and not go and have a party, then
Mm.
well, we're doing surgery. I've already had my lung function test. I had that on Friday, so we're pretty much good to go. But
So is it would you be having it over here or is it
yes, so I'm going to
no.
have it in Leeds, at St James's, and they have actually done a surgery like this in the past, but they've never done it with somebody who's had brain mets and progression. So I'll be
Right.
the first person in Britain to have this surgery with progression on the brain.
Oh wow.
I know
Oh, that is amazing.
it's amazing, because the thing is, if they're prepared to do that for me, they're going to be prepared to do it for so many other people as well.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if we're looking at longevity and reducing the tumour burden, I can't speak, tumour burden, particularly because our type of cancers, it's like, you know how COVID mutates to avoid
Mm.
the different medicines. Well,
Yeah.
our type of lung cancer tends to mutate, and it builds up resistance to the drugs, but it also can change because it's a genetic. My brain has gone. This happens all the time. Does this happen with you? You forget your words all the time.
Brain fog.
Yeah, completely. I don't know perimenopause, if it's the brain mets or if it's the gene
So mixture of
mutation.
it all.
That's the word I'm looking for. It's a gene mutation. So the gene mutation can change, and
Okay.
it's yeah. So it's really trying to hit it before that happens.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, fingers crossed, because yeah, that would just be then amazing.
So we'll.
So
Mm,
what would be the outcome then, like
it's not.
after having the op?
Yeah,
Oh.
so what's going to happen? So it's not cure, because the cancer's already at a molecular level, um, but it's basically going to be whack-a-mole, or splatter rat. One of my friends calls it splatter rat, which I think is
I've
far
never
more
heard of that.
appropriate than whack-a-mole. So every time one comes up, we're going to splat it. That's the plan. But I will still carry on with my TKI as well.
Right, okay.
And whilst that's keeping everything under control, so
Mm.
yes, we're not sure yet whether or not I have to have the whole lung or part of the lung removed. But then anything else that pops up, we'll just deal with it with radiotherapy.
See, it really amazes me, the human body, because when you do end up having then parts of organs or organs removed, it's like, well, don't we need them? Like, like,
So
oh,
I know. Well, it's funny because your lungs are actually huge. So
yeah,
if you don't have the whole of your lung, if you only have part of your lung, they're something like the size of a tennis court. If you unrolled your lung, okay, it's like the size of a
yeah.
tennis court, and you can
Oh,
actually, so you don't end up with a cavity. This is only part. I don't know what happens if I have the whole lung out, but if I only have like one, did you know you've got three parts to your left hand, right hand lung? Sorry, I'm going left to right now. So on the side of your heart, you've got
yeah.
two parts, and then on the other side, you've got three chambers almost.
Oh,
Um, and um, and so you don't have a cavity, and what happens is that fills up the rest of it, and then you can almost, with physiotherapy and with exercise and everything else, you can get your capacity not quite back up to what it was, but you can
oh,
certainly, I mean, there's people who've run marathons and all sorts
that is
after.
amazing.
It's crazy. It's yeah. I mean, it's
I
going to take
mean,
work.
the human body is just
Phenomenal,
incredible.
isn't it? Phenomenal. So
So, what support have you had then, like going through like your treatment, like professional support?
Um, well, I guess with a lot of the cuts to the NHS, sort of mental health sidey, sort of pastoral sidey, I haven't really received that much from the NHS, but I have. So there are certain charities that I've gone to. So EGFR Positive UK have been absolutely fantastic with the support. There's like an online forum. I've met some really gorgeous friends through that, and and it's a really uplifting group to be part of. People share the good news and the bad news and everything else. It's
Mm.
just and yeah, the connections are real there. um, Roy Castle Lung Cancer Foundation, they've been great. Macmillan, they were brilliant at the beginning of my journey when I was in a panic. I couldn't see the wood for the trees, and they helped me unravel all this confusion that was going on in my head. They helped
Mm.
me sort of understand the process. So yes, I've tended to go to the charities, to be honest. I mean, I have had some reflexology at my local hospice as well,
Okay.
which that was gorgeous. So when you're diagnosed with stage 4, you can access your local services at the hospices. But yeah,
Oh,
charities have been absolutely key and
oh,
fundamental. And because we have meetups, we have face-to-face meetups, we have online chats. It's just so lovely, and we
yeah,
have
I love that. 'Cause then, yeah, that just because having cat, it can be such a lonely and a
mm,
dark time, even being surrounded by friends and family. So I
yeah,
love that you have that support from others who have gone through it or going through it as well.
yeah, absolutely, and it's just like we said before, it's people who understand and who get it.
Mm. Yeah.
But it's so, for example, you might go, oh, my nails are dropping off, what can I do? Or you might sort of say, oh, my hair's literally breaking off, what can I do?
Mm.
And I've got rashes, what can I do? So and it's people who can then give that sort of advice as well. So it's not just
Yeah.
about, I mean, it is great to become an expert within your own cancer, because then that enables you to have those conversations with your oncologist as well, and your team, and so the group is absolutely invaluable for that sort of knowledge and
Yeah.
those skills and that skill set. Um, but also it's the little small things as well, and it's like it's seen that people are still living their lives, so there'll be holiday photos on there, and people
Mm.
talk travel insurance all the time.
Oh my God, that is the worst. That's ridiculous.
Oh, insurance with, they're great, honestly. Insurance with are absolutely
I mean,
fantastic.
really.
Yeah, they're great.
I was so shocked the first time I went to go away and put in track because after my cancer, I wasn't on any medication either. So I was like,
Yeah,
I'm not even on any medication. Why on earth am I? This is crazy.
I know, I know.
Mad.
I know. Well, I didn't think I was going to be able to get back on a plane from Spain a couple of weeks ago. So I had my fit to fly letter, I had everything else, And I decided to call it in. I don't always. I'm a bit naughty.
Mm.
But I thought, no, I'll just call this in. So I went to the desk and sort of showed them all my letters. And oh my goodness, the lady in Spain, she was like, "You wait here." And I was like, "Oh." She ended up phoning up the doctors and all,
Oh
not my
my
Spanish.
God.
And I was like, "Oh no, please let me on." I was thinking, oh my gosh, I was thinking it was going to be a road trip back up to Britain. She finally let
Um,
me.
it's mental. So, what would you say then cancer has impacted the most in your life?
Oh my goodness me. Well, I'm no longer teaching. That's probably one of the biggest things. I can't drive anymore, so that's huge. But I think because I loved my teaching job. I had a year two class, and they were just gorgeous. And I'd done it
Mm,
26 years, and it was my safe place. It was part of my routine, and I don't know, I just loved it. And so not being able to go into school anymore, not being able to have a job, that, and because that's part of your identity,
mm,
and it's something I'm really passionate about and proud of, and so that's been huge. Um, but yeah, like I say, not being able to drive and not being able to take the girls to, I mean, the girls getting older now, and Grace is now driving herself. So she's driving me places rather than the other way around. But sometimes you still want to take them to their friend's house, or you want to take them. Emily's got a little part job now, so I take her to work, but I can't. So we're relying very on transport. Um,
yeah,
I live, we don't have that much public transport. It's not as though we're in London or somewhere. Um, so yeah, and it's things like if I'm wanting to go to my yoga class, for example, I've got to work it out how to get there. I can't just
mm,
and just head on over. So yeah, I'd say those two things. That's how my life has really changed. But like we said at the beginning, it's not all been bad. It's like now I can get to walk my dogs for a really nice walk every single day, whereas before, I mean, I was walking them every day, but it was more of a rush. And
yeah,
whereas now I can take them up on the fields and I can spend a good hour or so on the fields, whereas before it might have been sort of like half an hour of like, oh, quick, 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 we've got to get back, we've got to get back. So
mm,
yeah, so there are definite, there's definite sort of we could say use the word glimmer a lot, don't we? Just looking for those positives, and I think that helps
mm,
get through as well. Really, is yeah, it's about the lemons and lemonade. You know that,
yeah.
but I see it as not just lemonade, but make it into a limoncello spritz. You know,
I like that.
yeah, just
Um,
nice.
so, if somebody is watching this or listening to this and they're in the thick of their cancer battle, what advice would you give them?
Hang on in there.
Mm,
Roller coaster. It really is. You've got ups and downs, and try and ride the wave. Um, and there's some really, really bad days, really, really bad days, and you'll find those people who understand. And when you're having your really, really bad days, there are going to be, you're not alone. And there's a whole community out there who can support you, particularly on Instagram, actually.
mm,
So many people who get it, so many people who understand, and who are happy to talk as well, and happy to hold your hand through it.
mm.
So don't ever, ever be alone. Reach out, find your forums, go on Instagram, message people. Oh, sorry, that's my dogs. I don't know if you
That's all right.
can. And yeah, you're not alone, and just hang on in there, and yeah, yeah.
And I think that's right. And I think for a lot of people as well, it's just having someone to listen to.
Mm.
Like we don't even need to, give them advice or anything. I think sometimes it's just having, yeah, just someone to listen to.
Just listen, and because sometimes nobody, there's not, you can't fix it. There's no golden bullet.
No.
And
No.
some things are really, really rubbish, particularly if, for example, if your current treatment line's failed, or you're on a new treatment line, or something really drastically devastating happens.
Mm.
Well, you can't fix that
No.
because, you can't, but what you can do is be there, and you can help just by holding people,
Yeah.
and it's like you say, listening without judgment, without advice, and and sometimes just bringing a bit of a smile as well. There's
Mm.
people who, yeah, it's rubbish, but I mean, I one of my friends, before I started my osimertinib, when I thought I was going to be on chemotherapy, she brought me a colouring book that was, should we just say, full of flowery language,
I've seen those.
me laugh. And then she also brought me a jigsaw, which was of certain body parts,
Oh, brilliant.
which was just made me giggle and just made me smile. And so she didn't, like I say, there's no judgment, no nothing. It was just like, here you go, something to maybe make you smile, maybe make you giggle.
I love that.
Yeah.
But that's
But
the thing. This is why we have these conversations, because it's there's good and bad days when it comes to cancer, and my posts, like, they generally are quite positive, but I know, I've lost people to cancer, and I know it isn't always, a happy ending for a lot of people. But that's why we have to have these conversations, because we need to get more awareness out there, because there's just not enough.
absolutely. And at the end of the day, we've got to be real, haven't
Yeah.
we? We can't sugarcoat things.
No.
We can look at the positives. I mean, I'm very similar to you in the fact that if you looked on my Instagram page, for example, most of it is really positive, most of it's really
Mm.
upbeat. But yeah, there are days when it's a couple of weeks ago, I had a real down day, and
Mm.
anxiety hits as well, because it is the unknown.
Yeah.
You are living with cancer,
Yeah.
and the very nature of cancer is unpredictable. And
Mm-hmm.
also, there's going to be days, and especially around scan times and scanxiety, that there's going to be times when, because it is the unknown, and you just think, oh gosh, what is this going to bring up? And then other days, if you're feeling a bit more upbeat, you'd be thinking, right, actually scans are good, because if something has gone on, then yeah, we need to deal with this, so we need to crack on and
Mm.
get on the right treatment. But then other days you'll be thinking, I don't want to know, I just don't
Yeah.
want to, just
Yeah. And that's
um
perfectly okay to have, a different mindset one day to the other. It's perfectly okay. And I think people need to realize that it is okay to have those down days.
Absolutely. And not to be, I mean, we talk about toxic positivity, don't we? Just,
Mm.
just pretending everything's okay.
Yeah.
And sometimes things aren't okay. And that's okay to acknowledge.
Yeah.
And, and not being worried that you're going to bring the room down, for example.
Mm.
Because if people don't want to engage, then they can just move on. You
Yeah.
know, there's
Exactly.
and they can literally just flick through. They don't have to stop and engage. But then you will find people who will, and who will
Mm.
support. And so I think, yeah, it's like you were saying, it's being true to yourself, and that all feelings are valid, and
Yeah.
it's okay to have those feelings.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what one word to finish off? What one word would you associate with cancer?
And I'm not allowed to swear.
I don't know if you can swear on on. Lisa's just put love to you both. I think Lisa said this. You can't swear.
Really asking the wrong word. um, oh gosh, I don't know if I can think of one word. Um, I guess I don't know. I guess it depends what mood I'm in, really.
Yeah,
If I'm in
yeah.
a positive mood, I'd probably say maybe something like reframing. Uh,
Mm.
but if I'm in a really bad mood and a depressing mood, it'll probably be anxiety. Yes,
Lisa
thank
said
you
it's
about
shit.
cancer journey. That's what I'm wanting to say. If I'm wanting,
I don't know if you can swear on here. Yeah, see,
Yeah,
Mazzy said the same as well. I don't, yeah, I
absolutely.
don't know if you
I
can.
keep typing it in.
Everyone gets it. Everyone knows. They all guess right. Oh, amazing. Thank you
Oh,
so much for
yeah.
coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me. Like I say, I hope I haven't babbled on too much because I know I've got a tendency to.
No, no, no. It's been amazing. And it's just, this is why I love doing this, because it's having people like you come on and share. Because, like, there's so much out there that I've got no idea about. So already, like, just this, I've learned so much. And it's just so important.
Yeah.
So important.
Yeah. Thank you so much, because what you're doing is you are bringing a community together and you are raising awareness of so many different types of cancer, but it's also about
Mm.
that commonality and the fact that it's something that joins us all together. And so thank you. Thank you. I
You're
think what
welcome.
you're valuable. So thank
Thank
you.
you. This is why I just love it. It's just, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Well,
Good
have a
work.
lovely day.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you so much. And this will be on YouTube, so everybody then can go and watch it on YouTube and share it. And yeah.
I come up with their own one singular word.
I love that. But thank you so much and have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you. You too, honey. Bye.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.